Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining me again for another episode. So this week I want to tackle single parents. And this is not single parents that are just coming out of divorce, who are widowed, who are really parenting all by themselves. You can be a single parent and still be in a relationship or be in a marriage with your partner, and perhaps they work a job where they're never home and they travel a lot, or maybe your spouse is in the military and they're gone for months at a time and you're really doing the work of what a single parent would do. So there are some aspects of being a single parent that are different whether you are in a relationship or not in a relationship. So if you're a single parent and are not in a relationship, that emotional support obviously is not going to be there. And even sometimes when you are in a relationship, that emotional support is not really there. So, and I'm going to start doing a series of this because when I was a single parent, and I still am, I'm not married, but when I didn't have the emotional support that I have now, I had a lot of nights and times where it was a struggle. It's a lot of work and it can be lonely, and there are a lot of things that a single parent will go through that a parent that is not in this person's shoes will never fully understand or experience. So for this video, I want to tackle blame, guilt, and loneliness. So if you are experiencing any of these three, being a single parent, this video is for you. So like always, if you have not subscribed to this channel, please click the subscribe button down below, and don't forget to click on the notification bell as well. That will inform you each time I do upload a new video with a new topic, and I will be doing a giveaway probably within the next video or so, so be on the lookout for that as well. My giveaways are an hour, a free hour of a coaching session with me. So if you're interested in free coaching, this is definitely the channel for you because I do a lot of giveaways throughout the course of the month. So let's get right into this week's video. So one of the first things that a lot of single parents will experience is this feeling of blame. Like, I blame myself for my child or children being in this situation. Now, maybe it's because you've ended the relationship with your ex-partner or your ex-spouse. Maybe it's because you blame yourself that you chose this person to conceive children with and to have a family with. And now you're looking back and thinking, why did I pick this person? Like, why did I put my children in this situation? Like, how could I have picked such an unhealthy person to be the father of my child, the mother of my children? So we have this blame that we put on ourselves when we are in this process of parenting by ourselves. Perhaps we are constantly blaming our ex-spouse or our ex-partner for everything that they did wrong in the relationship and how abusive they were to either ourselves or our children. And a lot of it is absolutely valid, right? Maybe you were in a situation that was really unhealthy and abusive, and you were the victim of abuse, right? Maybe you were in those types of situations where there is blame, there is a finger to point. But at a certain point, we have to stop the blame game. Now, we have to stop the stories that we're telling ourselves that either are blaming this other person for everything that they did wrong in the relationship, for maybe blaming ourselves for everything we did wrong in the relationship, maybe not standing up to this person, maybe just attracting this person in general, or engaging in this relationship for as long as we did. All that blame that we put on ourselves and all the feelings that we have for now our children having to go through what they went through or what they are going through. All of that is, and I know a lot of people aren't going to want to hear this, but it is the fact, it is the reality. All of that is just putting you in a victim mode. And being in a victim mode leaves you powerless. It allows you to stay in that negative space, and in that space of being a victim, you can never move forward. You can never make change really happen. And most people will say, you know what, I'm bitter, I'm angry, I'm blaming my ex, and I'm moving forward in my life. Okay, but are you truly happy? So someone that is happy, authentically happy, healthy inside, that blame is gone. That blame doesn't even exist anymore. They don't blame themselves for maybe decisions that they made that weren't maybe the best, right? They see the lessons that they had to learn in order to be the person that they are now. They don't look at their child's situation as the worst situation in the world, because, and I get this really often from a lot of people that will say, well, what do you do when, my child or my children are going with their father or their mother and this person is manipulative and toxic and unhealthy, and what do I do? And they're trying to control the situation, or they feel such anger that they put their child in the hands of this father or this mother that is completely unhealthy and toxic. And what I always say is, even though it's their parent, it's just like any other person that your child is going to meet throughout the course of their life. And it's a matter of you being the healthy parent to parent your children or your child on what is acceptable behavior, what is not acceptable behavior, teaching them how to set boundaries over time, teaching them how to be able to speak up for themselves, basically tackling any bully that they would see on the playground, right? Teaching them right from wrong. And this isn't about throwing their father or their mother under the bus. This is just about teaching them lessons that, hey, when dad did this, when mom did this, that wasn't okay. That sounds kind of like manipulation. How do you feel when they said that to you? What did you think inside? Really letting them come to their own conclusions by themselves, sitting in a space for them, asking them questions so they can get there themselves, versus you throwing the other person under the bus, or seeing the manipulation and saying, that was manipulation, they can't do that. Asking the child questions. How did that make you feel? Why did you feel that way? And like getting inquisitive. If the child is around a healthy adult, they will be able to spot manipulation. They will be able to be in tune with themselves, as long as that's being honored in your household, to know that, hey, when dad did this, it didn't feel good. When mom did this, I didn't like it. And they'll know that this isn't okay, right? And it's a matter of you saying, absolutely, this wasn't okay that mom did this or that dad did this. This is what should have happened. And teaching them what the parent was supposed to do, right? So that's how you solve that problem. And that takes you out of victimhood, and that allows you to be responsible for your own life and your own situation, and to actually have control over a lot of outcomes. While we can't control the other person and what they do, we can always control ourselves, and we can control how we parent our children. The other aspect of blame is blaming the other person for what they did to you. And now, even if someone cheated on you, left you, abused you, betrayed you, and what they did was wrong, black and white, it was wrong. At some point, you can't keep the blame on that person, and we have to take responsibility for our own actions and our own selves. And this is you being the adult to say, yes, what I went through, I was a victim. Like, what they did was abusive and it wasn't okay, but what did I do that allowed me to even be in this situation to begin with? That's the biggest question. That's where the lesson is. And when you know, okay, what was going on inside of me that allowed me to attract this person? Why did I put up with all the abuse that I put up with for so long? Like, where are my wounds that were causing me to keep engaging with this person and stay on this hamster wheel time and time again? Those are the golden nuggets. That's what you should be doing after any relationship, but especially one that was very toxic, unhealthy, if you're dealing with someone who's narcissistic, what have you. So the next thing that every single parent struggles with is guilt. Now, guilt looks like a lot of different things. Guilt could be that I feel like the child isn't getting enough because I'm only one person. The guilt could be that I'm guilty that I chose this person as their mother or father, and now they have to forever be connected to this person, right? The guilt could be that I need to take care of myself in this moment, and it can't be about my child right now, and I can't do certain things for them because I have to do something for myself, and I need this for myself. Like the guilt of maybe wanting time away, even though you deserve time away. There's so many different feelings of guilt that a single parent will have. And one of the things that I myself have had to learn, the hard lesson over the years, is the guilt that you feel for not being able to give your child everything. So when we conceive children and we have these children, we love them unconditionally right off the bat. I've never loved anyone as much as I love my son in the first moment of meeting him, right? And with that comes not wanting him to experience anything that's painful or uncomfortable. But that's life. And it's something that I have to constantly remind myself time and time again, that we can't feel happy without feeling sad. So as much as we honor our children being happy and we want that for them, not that we want them to feel anything uncomfortable, but feeling it and going through these situations is a part of life. It helps them to be a better human being. It helps them to learn how to emotionally take care of themselves, because it's easy to take care of ourselves when everything's going right, life's going our way, we're just sailing off into the sunset and nothing bad is happening, right? There's no waves that are happening on the boat. But when life is challenging and it's hard and we have to fall and pick ourselves back up, that's where the strength is built, right? That's when your character is formed. And that is what is going to make your child be the person they were meant to be. So at times when I realized that for me, my son has to do certain things that perhaps if there were two parents in the household, he wouldn't have to do, that even though sometimes that he might have to grow up a little bit faster, that it's going to allow him to be the man. I trust that what he's going through will allow him to be the man that he's meant to be, and that there are great lessons that a child coming from a single parent or children coming from a single parent will benefit from. I always look at it this way. Would I rather my child be in a household where he's seeing an example of two people that aren't right for each other, are, not communicating well, one's unhealthy, maybe one's codependent, and there's this really bad dynamic that's going on, and have everything be done for him? Or would I rather have him live in a house with just his mother or just the father, whatever the situation is for you, and be in a situation where he's with someone who's healthy, they're happy, and he has to do a couple more things for himself? I would rather that for him than the opposite. Sometimes people stay for the kids, and I always say that's the absolute worst thing that you could ever do for children, because either you're faking a relationship and then they'll look back and be like, none of that was real, or perhaps you are just in the motions of a relationship, and again, they're learning what a relationship is going to look like and feel like and be, and how communication should go between, two people that supposedly love each other. And if it's unhealthy, you're giving them a poor example. That is going to be the basis of what they grow up to attract into their lives. And so many people think that troubled kids are kids that come from divorce, and that's actually not the case. Troubled kids are just coming from homes and situations that are unhealthy, period, whether there's divorce or not. So it's a matter of what you do that's going to help this child or hurt this child. The other aspect of feeling guilty is, having to have sometimes a balance between your child and your children and yourself. And I think, parents in general, especially moms, I think struggle with this a lot, is the guilt of wanting time for themselves or focusing on themselves and not their children. And I always say, and it's easier said than done, I'm a mom and there are still times when I have guilt, but I have to be able to parent myself through it. I have to be able to talk to myself through it and not allow myself to sit in that guilt. I always say that the parents that feel like they're not doing enough are the parents that are doing enough. That it'll never be good enough for those parents, because they always want more. They always expect more out of themselves, and they always want to strive to be the best parent that they can possibly be. Those are the parents that need to cut themselves the biggest slack. And I am definitely guilty to say that I always think that I could do more and I could do more for him or my business or whatever. And I have to be gentle with myself and know that there's only 24 hours in a day and I'm doing the best I can. And my best is always the best, because it's what I can give in this moment. Some days I feel like super mom and I'm making organic dinners and I have all this energy and we're baking cupcakes from scratch. And then we have other days where maybe we're playing one board game and that's about it, because that's all mom can mentally do. And that's totally fine. So the last thing is loneliness. And this is a big one. So if you are a single parent, whether you are in a relationship or not, you definitely have moments of real loneliness. And this is because you're by yourself. So when the kids go to sleep and it's 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whatever it looks like, and you just want to curl up, you've had a tough day, you've worked your tail off, and you just need someone to emotionally be there for you. You just need a hug. You just need to lay on the couch with someone else and vent out your day, right? And no one's there. And you're doing everything all by yourself. That's a tough place to be. And it can be extremely isolating at times. feeling like you're all by yourself, you and your child, you and your children, just tackling the world on together. And it's hard. It's definitely probably the hardest thing that I had to go through being a single parent is that isolation. But I will say, what always got me out of that was this was my opportunity to create the life that I wanted. So in those moments when my son would go to bed very early and I was by myself and I was absolutely exhausted, that was my time to start a business. That was my time to write. That was my time to take a bath. That was my time to read a book. That was my time to do whatever it is that I wanted to do in that moment. Listen to affirmations, do a meditation, work on self-parenting, anything that I needed to do to get myself ready for the next day to, again, go to work, do a full day of work, come home, make the dinners, pack the lunches, pick them up from school, do this, do that, all of that. So that was me time. Then it got to a point where as things progressed and he would eventually leave, and then I had to start splitting holidays. And then, when you conceive a child, you never think, I'm not going to see my child on Christmas, or I'm not going to see them for their entire birthday, right? I'll only see them for an hour or half a day or whatever. Those were probably the most difficult times for me, was going through the transition of splitting holidays and that type of stuff. But what I always said was I had to make the best out of the situation that I was given, that I was put into, whether I liked it or not. And I just had to switch what my expectations were. So instead of the expectation being that I was a part of this family and my child was going to be with me all day at Christmas and all that stuff, I had to enjoy the moments that I had. I had to let him go with his father. I had to cry if I needed to. I had to feel whatever it is that I felt, which was sad, being upset. And over the years, things got better and better because I learned that the holidays look like this instead of it looking like what I thought it was going to originally look like. And you come to terms with it and you accept it a little bit more if you choose to accept it, if you choose to make the best of it, if you choose to say, I had a great morning with my kids, my house looks a mess, they went with their dad, and now I'm going over to my friend's house to have Christmas dinner. And then eventually you meet someone and you have someone in your life, and then that changes as well. And now maybe they have kids or they don't have kids or whatever the situation looks like. Life is always evolving. So no matter where you are, you're not going to stay there forever. And that was something that I told myself constantly. Whenever I had a lonely Tuesday night, whenever I didn't have plans for 3 weekends in a row, whatever, I constantly said to myself, I'm not going to be here forever, so I need to enjoy this time. I need to invest in myself. I need to take care of myself. I need to worry about me. There were years where I was single. I was single for probably 4 years. I went on dates, but I just knew intuitively that I wasn't ready. I knew that this was just my time to be selfish because I worked so hard every single day, either on my job or with my son, that I said any amount of time that I have to myself, I'm going to focus on myself because I had nothing to give anyone else. Other than my job and my work, it was me. I couldn't give that to someone else. I had to give it to myself first. And I'm glad I did because in those years, I built the life that I have now. And even though I have a relationship in my life, that relationship is outside of what I have created for myself. The town I live in, the place that I live now, the job that I have, the friends that I made, the trips that I take, my mentality, just who I am is a product of all of those years of doing the work, of saying, okay, I have no plans this Friday night. I'm going to do something for me. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to ask someone if they want to go out for dinner. I had to put myself out there constantly, time and time again. And if someone said, no, I can't, I might feel a little disappointed, but I brushed it immediately off and I said, okay, well, maybe next time. And I did something that was for myself. So even though you're going to have moments when you have that loneliness, it's what do you do in those moments? Are you giving yourself the good stuff that's helping you through those times because you know you're not going to be there forever? Or are you making this mountain is it a mountain into a molehill? I don't know what it's called. But are you basically feeding the fear? If you're feeding the fear, then that loneliness is going to stay with you for a very long time. But if you don't sit in that victimhood and you take control over your life and your happiness, that loneliness, you're not going to be lonely for very much longer because any opportunity you have, you're going to make the best of it. So I hope that that helps everyone out there who are dealing with either blaming themselves, any amount of guilt, or really just being lonely and having a fear of what if I don't meet someone? What if this doesn't happen? All of those what ifs that are causing you to, have anxiety or panic or worry or anything like that. So I hope that this helps you. Watch it time and time again. I know for me personally, I lived on YouTube for years watching videos after videos, and that is now why I do what I do, to give back myself. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next week.